Hello guys, good afternoon. This is Dr. Ferdinand Piano from University of Makati. And for today, I'm going to be sharing with you this time a video lecture series on how to write a thesis. But before I proceed to this presentation, I'd like to invite you, of course, to follow also my other video lectures on how to plan a business, how to write a business plan, and how to write an HR strategic plan. It's actually posted below the video description. So the link is there, so you can check that out also. So for this session, I'm gonna be talking about thesis writing, and for this particular video clip, no video lecture, I'm gonna be sharing with you one of the most important parts of a full paper thesis, and this is called the introduction. So now let's check out how to write a thesis introduction. Okay. So what exactly is a research introduction? Well, the research introduction is basically one of the most important parts of a full paper research because it obviously introduces the topics, or the main topic of a particular study. So dito po natin makikita yung iba't ibang mga impormasyon na kailangang malaman agad, no, ng mga readers or ng mga reviewers sa isang research paper. Okay, although meron tayong tinatawag na research abstract, pero iba pa rin po yung impormasyon na dala o hatid ng isang research introduction. Okay? So, ito pong nakita nyo ngayon ay isa sa mga researches na of course ginawa ko, and it's already published, no, in the Kahusayan Journal, no, courtesy of Integrated International Research Conference. So, dito po sa study ko na Social Development Program, the case of Southeast Asian countries, inilatag po dyan yung mga mahahalagang impormasyon na kailangang mabasa ng mga iba pang researchers or mga nagre-review ng research. Okay? So, ito po ang nagbibigay din ng dagdag na kaalaman sa mga nagre-review or nagbabasa ng research na ano ba ang mga naging dahilan kung bakit po o kinailangan gawan ng research ang ganitong mga topics. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan pa po natin ang nilalaman ng isang research introduction, tayo na pong tumungo doon sa susunod na slide para malaman natin kung ano yung definition or yung iba pang mga description tungkol sa isang research introduction. So what exactly is a research introduction? The research introduction is your opportunity to show the readers and reviewers why your research topic is worth reading about and why your paper warrants their attention. The introduction serves multiple purposes. It presents the background of your study, it introduces your topic, and gives an overview of your paper. So what this basically means is that the introduction gives us the information that the readers or that the reviewers would want to know about your research. No? Kasi minsan sa title pa lang, although it kind of gives you the right kind of information, but depende pa rin po yan sa nilalaman ng ating buong research paper. No? And usually, ang nag-set ng tone ng research na yan o ng idea na yan is yung ating research introduction. Na kapag binasa yan ng mga readers and reviewers, they would exactly know what this research is all about. So, doon na agad makikita na yung mga kailangan nilang information ay ito pala yung aking kakailanganing mga data, no? Nandito ko siya makukuha. So, yun po yung value ng isang research introduction. Okay? Sabi dyan, no? Why your paper warrants their attention. So that's basically it. So The research introduction serves multiple purposes. Marami pong iba't ibang gamit yung research introduction apart from those that I've already mentioned. No? It also presents the background of your study because bit by bit nababanggit na po kung ano po yung magiging laman ng next na part ng ating research paper, which is the background of the study. No? Okay, so kahit pa paano mababanggit-banggit na rin po dyan kung ano po yung magiging content naman ng next part ng ating research paper. Okay? It also introduces your topic and gives an overview of the paper. So like I said, ito po ay maglalaman ng mga information na kakailanganin ng iba pang readers, researchers, or reviewers sa sariling gagawing mga researches. So for us to learn more about research introduction, I'm going to be sharing with you an article written by John Zepernick. Nadyan po sa slide natin yung link kung saan makikita po yung kanyang mga sinulat. No? At ito po ay i-echo ko lang para mas madali ring maintindihan yung isinulat ni John Zepernick sa kanyang artikulo. Okay? Ang title po niyan ay 10 Tips for Writing an Effective Introduction to Original Research Papers. Pero ang ginawa ko po dito ay breakdown ko lang or pinili ko lang po yung talagang sa tingin ko ay makabuluhan na ibahagi or i-discuss tungkol sa isang research introduction. So alamin po natin kung ano yung mga tips na yan. So tip number 1, start broadly and then narrow down. Okay? In this first paragraph, briefly describe the broad research area and then narrow down to your particular focus. This will help position your research topic within the broader field, making the work accessible to a broader audience, not just to specialists in your field. So this is what makes introduction so tricky at the same time. No? Although it provides us plenty of information, it gives us a broad view of what the research is all about. No? Kung anong research po yung binabasa nyo. Pero dahil po sa laki po ng coverage or broad na coverage po ng research introduction, ay maaari pong maraming madaan ng iba't ibang mga detalye, no? Na posibleng kailanganin ng ibang mga researchers, pero down the line, dapat maging specific din tayo kung tungkol saan ba talaga yung ating ginagawang research. Okay, kaya nga sabi dyan, start broadly and then narrow down. So I'd like to describe a research introduction to a sort of an inverted pyramid or an inverted triangle. Yung nakaganyan po siya, where at the onset, sa simula po nung pagsulat natin ng research introduction, medyo malawak po yung coverage niya. Okay? Pwede po natin gamitin yan ng lawak ng coverage in terms of territory. Say for example, it could be global or it could be international. Okay, but as you move forward from one paragraph to the next, nagiging mas narrow yung kanyang coverage. So from global to international to become regional. Or let's say, nung unang paragraph, ang dinidiscuss mo is tungkol sa global effects ng pandemic, or global impact ng poverty, or global impact ng mga social development program like conditional cash transfers, yung mga ganyan. No? Hanggang sa ikaw ay pupunta naman sa mas maliit na scope, no? Which is kunyari regional. Let's say for example sa Asia na lang, no? Or sa Southeast Asia, hindi na sa pangbuong mundo. So hanggang sa makarating ka sa pinaka scope talaga ng iyong research, which is either the Philippines or your own country kung saan ka man po nakatira, no? Pwede rin sa ating lalawigan or probinsya, no? Or maging sa ating syudad, no? Okay. In this case, no, so I'm from University of Makati and I'm living in Makati City, so I guess the sample now would be about people living or the conditions of what Makati City has, no? So parang ganun. So, from a broad start to a narrow end, parang ganyan, no? Para sa bandang dulo ng introduction part natin, medyo specific na, no? Yung covered na area or covered na lugar, no, na teritoryo ng ating ginagawang research. Okay, I hope it's clear. Now let's move on to the next step or next tip, which is state the aims and importance. Say what you want to achieve and why your readers should be interested in finding out whether you achieve it. The basic structure can be as simple as we aim to do X, which is important because it will lead to Y. So it is also very important that in your introduction paper to directly specify yung objective ng research mo and yung importance nito. No? Of course, we have to establish the fact that in our research, no, simula pa lang dapat ma-establish na agad yung kahalagahan ng research mo. After all, bakit ka nagpapagod sa isang research? Take note, hindi po madaling gumawa ng research. It takes a lot of time, no, on the part of the researcher to work on a particular research, especially if you are working on a research paper na gusto mong ipapublish, no, napakahirap po nun. So, basically, sa introduction pa lang dapat mabigyan ng agad, no, yung importansya at yung objective ng ginagawa mong research. No? Para saan ba itong research mo? Sino ba makikinabang dito? Okay? Bakit ba tayo nagpapagod sa research na to? So obviously, kailangan mailabas na kagad natin kung gaano kahalaga yung research na ginagawa natin. Okay? Again, I would like to emphasize that all these information being shared to you came from the article of John Zepernick. Okay. Nandyan po sa baba ng slide natin yung link kung saan makikita yung kanyang artikulo. Okay. Third tip, sabi ni John Zepernick, cite thoroughly but not excessively. Now, dito po madalas nagkakaroon ng problema yung mga karamihan sa mga nagre-research, no? Lalo na po yung mga nasa undergrad or yung mga kumukuha pa lang ng mga BS courses. Kapag gumagawa sila ng research introduction or kahit ng research o kahit ng background of the study, and especially doon sa review of related literature nila, what students would normally do is they look for an article available online or pwedeng sa mga iba pang mga researches din. And then when they found one particular topic that relates to their research or study, kinukuha po nila yung buong page, yung buong article o yung buong paragraph, no? And then yun po ang inilalagay o kinakarga nila sa kanilang mga papel, no? Tapos lalagyan na lang nila ng citation, pwedeng ilagay din yung link sa bandang dulo ng paragraph, no? But that's not the right practice. But of course, we will also discuss that matter, no, in another video series that I'm going to be doing next. Okay, but for now, focus muna tayo sa research introduction. Okay, so ang sabi kasi dito sa step na to, cite thoroughly but not excessively. Okay, means that pwede tayong kumuha ng mga related materials or related information coming from other sources or coming from other researchers or mga reliable and valuable sources of information. Pero wag naman sanang yung buong page ang kunin natin, no? Or yung buong paragraph, no, yung kunin natin. Okay, actually 1 or 2 sentences coming from them is already good enough. Okay, pwede na po yun. Just to support our argument lang. Okay, remember that in research introduction and in the background of the study, dapat po si researcher ang nagsusulat dyan. Okay, halos 80 to 90% po ng mga impormasyon na laman ng introduction at ng background of the study dapat po sinulat natin bilang mga researchers. Okay po? Pwede po tayong dumampot ng paisa-isa o padala-dalawang sentences coming from other sources Of course, with proper citation, pero dapat hanggang doon na lang. No? Wag na po natin gawing isang buong paragraph, no? Okay? Unless of course if it's very very important, no? Siguro pwedeng ilagay yung isang paragraph with 3 or 4 sentences, but not more than that, no? Kasi sobrang excessive na nga yun, sabi nga ni John, no? Sabi ni John Zepernik. Okay, and in terms of excessiveness din, no? Dapat po hindi naman sobrang dami nung sinite mo na halos yung buong introduction mo ay walang nangyari kundi puro citation. Yes, pa isa-isa o padala-dalawang sentences nga yung ginamit mo, pero halos umabot ka naman ng 10 or 15 na mga citations. So parang anong nangyari, yung buong paragraph, yung buong introduction mo were all citations. No? So which is not supposed to be the case. No? Kasi po dapat sa introduction, si researcher po, yung nagsusulat po dapat ang naglatag ng mga impormasyon ayon sa kanyang pagkakaintindi or pagkakaunawa sa mga nabasa niyang mga resources. Okay? O kaya pwede rin mga sarili niyang idea or sarili niyang mga opinion base sa kanyang mga obserbasyon. Okay? Basta po ang importante, tayo po yung nagsulat. Okay? At least 80% of the time dapat tayo po yung bawa ng laman ng ating research, ng ating research introduction and ng background of the study. So more about tip number 3. Your review of the literature should be complete but not overly long. Remember, you're not writing a review article. If you find that your introduction is too long or overflowing with citations, the solution is to cite review articles rather than all the individual articles that were summarized in the review. Okay, so mayroon siyang sinasuggest dito na tip or technique na kapag kayo po daw po ay masyado nakakuha ng maraming mga citations. So, hindi din kasi advisable na punong-puno ng citations yung introduction mo to the point na halos wala ka ng iniambag o isinulat. No? So, the best thing that you would do daw is cite review articles. No? Baka meron po kayong makuha mga resources na ang ginawa po is ni-review po yung mga articles. No? At ang gagawin nyo na lang po is i-cite nyo yung review article mismo. Okay? Hindi na po yung paisa-isang mga articles or paisa-isang mga sentences or paragraph na ginamit doon sa isang buong research. Okay? Hanapin nyo na lang po yung nag-review ng article para yung nag-review ng article na lang po isa-cite natin. Okay? Now, in my own perspective regarding this matter, kapag po masyado na pong mahaba or marami pong mga citations po ang nilalaman ng ating research introduction, it would also be better for you to bring those citations to other parts of your research. For instance, pwede mong ilagay sa background of the study. No? Hatiin mo, no? Yung iba nasa introduction, yung iba nasa background. Okay? Remember that we're using these citations just to emphasize a particular point or a particular agenda. No? Hindi po yung ginalagay natin yan para humaba lang po yung laman ng introduction or ng background of the study nyo. No? We're doing this para po sabihin na yung ating idea is in consonance with the idea of other researchers. Take note, ang ating idea, okay, meaning galing yan sa nagsusulat or galing yan sa researcher, is in consonance, ay sumasang-ayon, no, or related, no, or in relevance to the other ideas of other researchers. Okay? So, ganun po dapat yung takbo ng ating research. Okay? O ng ating research introduction. Step number 4, or tip number 4, clearly state either your hypothesis or research question. Stating a hypothesis can be an effective way of framing the research. For example, in this study, we hypothesize that X is related to Y, and we use method A to test the hypothesis. Well, ito namang pag-include or pag-mention ng hypothesis is obviously an optional on the part of the researcher because Depende rin kasi yan sa nature ng research mo, no, or type ng research mo. Well, kung gagamit ka ng inferential statistics, no, kailanganin mo ng hypothesis. No? Pero kung hindi naman at purely descriptive lang, na tipong hanggang weighted mean lang yung gagawin mong research, is hindi na po siguro kailangan i-emphasize pa yung point tungkol sa hypothesis. However, kung ang tinutukoy dito ni John Zepernik ay makapagbigay ka na ng ilang mga tanong, ilang mga katanungan, okay, na maaring masagot at the end of the research, pwede naman po. Okay? Establish mo lang yung ganitong mga katanungan. Like for example, ano po kaya ang posibleng mangyari kapag tinanggal, no, or inalis na po yung programa ng 4Ps, no, o ng DSWD, no, para sa mga kababayan nating mahihirap. No? Kasi may mga ilan pong question din sa programang yan. No? Pero paano po kaya kung alisin kaya ng DSWD yan or itigil na yung implementasyon ng ganyang programa? What will happen to our kababayan? So that could be an example of a hypothesis. Okay? Note that the research question doesn't always have to be stated in the interrogative form with a question mark. Instead, you can put the question into a declarative sentence. So ito naman, it's a matter of writing lang naman, whether you will do it in an interrogative form or in a declarative form. Meaning, kung may question mark ba o wala. Okay, but the point there is you have to emphasize on some particular questions that you need to raise, no, para magkaroon po ng idea yung mga researchers kung ano pong mga problema ang posibleng hanapan ng solusyon ng inyong research. Okay po. Let's move on to the next tip. It's supposed to be tip number 5. Pero tip number 6 ata yung nailagay ko agad dito. Or probably I must have deleted step number 5 or tip number 5 kasi nga po, as I have said, no, from the start of this video lecture, kinuha ko lang po or pinili ko lang po yung tingin kong useful naman, okay, para sa mga gumagawa ng research introduction. Okay. So, tip number 6 or 5, no? Okay, consider giving an overview of the paper. Okay. In the last paragraph of your introduction, consider giving a section-by-section overview of your paper. For example, in section 2, we describe our analysis methods and data sets we used. In section 3, we present the results. In section 4, we discuss the results and compare our findings with those in the literature. In section 5, we state our conclusions and suggest possible topics for future research. So, ito pong tip number 6 na to, no? Consider giving an overview of the paper. So parang nabanggit ko na rin po to in the previous slides where you have to give a larger view of what your research is all about, pero habang tumatakbo po or dumadagdag po yung mga paragraphs na binubuo mo, dapat mas nag-narrow down tayo at napupunta tayo sa mas specific na mga topics. Okay? Gaya po ng mga nilatag na mga example dito. So, pwede pong ang pag-narrow natin ng mga topic can be done through section per section. Okay, like in my previous example, no, from a broader scope, like for example, global or international to regional, like Asia, no, to countrywide, like Philippines, and down the line, no, sa mga provincial areas or mga citywide areas. So, pwedeng ganun po yung sectioning na tinatawag natin. Okay po? So, that's for tip number 6. For tip number 7, keep it short. Don't bury your readers in detail. Well, actually, in the original article of John Zepernik, itong dalawang bullets na to was 7 and 8. No? But what I did is I simply combined the two, no? For just tip number 7. Keep it short. Don't bury your readers in details. Okay. So parang from the previous slides that was mentioned, no? Okay. Hindi po natin although we need to start broad, no? and narrowly, pero it doesn't have to be too long also. No? Okay, sabi nga, keep it short. An ideal introduction for a full paper, no? For a full paper research na may 5 chapters, no? Yung introduction, RRL, research methodology, interpretation and analysis of data, at saka yung summary conclusions and findings. Kung meron tayong ganong meron tayong ganong 5 chapters for an introduction, I think yung 2 pages will be enough. Okay, 2 pages, and I think yung 2 pages na yun might be around 5 to 6 paragraphs long. Okay, that given that you're using Arial and 12 Arial na font style and 12 yung size niya. Okay, so okay na po siguro yung 2 paragraph and 2 pages. Okay, 2.5 pages might still be acceptable, pero I think it's a little bit too long na rin. Okay, so keep it short. Try to avoid an overly long introduction. Good target is about 500 to 1,000 words. Okay, the introduction should avoid stating too many detailed results because these results need the development in the other sections of your paper to be properly understood. It is usually better to give a general overview of the findings in the introduction. Okay, so yung pangalawang bullet medyo critical yan. Kasi sabi dito, although sa research introduction, pwede naman na magbanggit ng iba't ibang mga results, ng ibang mga researches, no? Pero it would be more beneficial if you will put that on the other parts of your research. Say, for example, in the background of the study. Kasi nga, background, ibig sabihin nun, dapat mas focus na talaga kung ano yung tinutukoy ng research mo. Doon ka pwedeng mag-share or magbahagi ng mga results ng ibang mga researches, no? But not too much on the introduction. Siguro isa o dalawang research results, no, from other researches ang pwede mong i-include dyan. Okay, but not too much na sabi nila. Okay. Next, this one is another set of tips on how to write your research introduction, but this time coming from student UNSW. So, ito yung website niya. So, alamin natin kung ano po yung mga binahagi nila tungkol sa pagsusulat ng research introduction. What types of information should you include in your research introduction? In the research introduction of your thesis, you'll be trying to do 3 main things, which are called moves. Okay, so ito yung kanilang ginawang estilo sa pagpapakilala or pag-discuss ng nilalaman ng research introduction. Move number 1, establish your territory. Say what the topic is about. So, the territory here may be about, of course, kung ano yung particular topic ng research mo, if it be about performance of students in the senior high, performance of students in the college level, or performance of students in the grad school level, no? Ano po yung impact ng pag-aaral ng mga estudyante sa graduate school, no, sa kanilang mga careers, o kaya naman ito pong kasalukuyang kinakaharap natin, no, yung pagta-transition ng traditional schooling to online learning. No? So, pwedeng ganun po yung mga topic natin. The territory here might also be a literal na territory. It could refer to places, lugar kung saan kailangan gawin yung research. Okay, parang kanina po sa mga nabanggit ko sa mga previous slides, yung global ba or international, regional ba, like for example sa Asia or sa Africa, or pwede ring countrywide, no? Or citywide or provincial-wide. So, yun po yung mga territories na tinutukoy natin. Move number 2. Establish a niche. Show why there needs to be further research on your topic. Yan, ito po isa po dapat ma-emphasize din natin in the research introduction. Ganon din naman sa background of the study. Kailangan po natin magbigyan ng hint yung mga readers or mga iba pang gumagawa ng researches na posible magbasa ng ating research ng particular na dahilan kung bakit ginagawa itong research na to. Okay? Or pwede rin bakit kailangan pang bugtungan ng iba pang mga researches itong mga study na to. Just to prove the point lang na talagang may ganitong problema at kinakailangan ng solusyon. Move number 3. Introduce the current research. Make hypothesis, state the research questions. Dito po sa state the research questions na tinatawag, pwede ka na po magbigay kasi ng mga pahapyaw na mga katanungan o ng mga problema na na-encounter na nagtulak sa iyo o na nagtulak sa researcher para gawa ng research itong topic na to, itong agenda na to. Okay? So yan po yung move number 3. Okay. Stages in a thesis, introduction, background, and statement of the problem. So ito po medyo pinahapyawan ng daanan yung iba pang part ng research paper, no? Bukod sa thesis introduction. Again, ito pong mga notes na to ay galing pa rin po sa student unsw.edu website. Nasa baba po yung link, paki-check na lang po para sa validity ng information na ibinabahagi po sa inyo. So stage number 1, state the general topic and give some background. Okay? Magbigay daw po ng mga general topic at konting background. Provide a review of the literature related to the topic. Okay? Although meron po tayong specific na part para ilatag natin yung review of the related literature, but it doesn't necessarily mean that lahat lang po ng mga citations o ng mga reviews, no, coming from other researchers, from books and other resources, ay dun lang po natin ilalagay. No? Pwede po kasing ikalat din no? Sa iba't iba pang bahagi ng ating research. Like for example, sa introduction, pwede rin sa background, hanggang sa chapter 4, yung presentation, analysis, and interpretation of data, pwede rin po tayong magsingit-singit doon ng paisa-isa o padalawang mga citations and literatures, no, per table ng ating ginagawang pag-aaral, no, ating ginagawang research. Number 3, define the terms and scope of the topic. Okay, I guess this has been mentioned in the previous slides. Number 4, outline and evaluate the current situation, advantages and disadvantages, and identify the gap. Yan, ito, hindi po natin ito nababanggit no, mula simula. So, in writing our research introduction, of course, kasama na rin yung background. Dapat po nating mabigyan ng highlight yung posibleng sitwasyon or current status ng mga subjects o ng mga respondents na ating nabahagi ng ating research. Okay? Tingnan po yung kanilang current situation. Ano po ba yung estado nila? Okay? Pwede po tayong magbigay ng mga detalye tungkol sa bagay na yun. Okay? Pwede po natin daanin yan sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng mga advantages and disadvantages. Okay? Mga problems na na-encountered. Okay? Or, sabi nga, yung pag-identify ng gap, no? Saan pa ba may kulang? Saan pa ba may problema? Okay? Na nagtutulak ngayon sa'yo bilang researcher, nagawan siya ng dagdag na o na panibagong o dagdag or panibago pang research. Number 5, identify the importance of the proposed research. Now, this has been mentioned already from the previous slides. Now, of course, we cannot reject the idea of stating the importance of your research. No? Yung tinatawag nilang dapat ilalatag mo na sa simula pa lang. Sa research introduction mo, ilalatag na natin kung para saan at gaano kahalaga itong ginagawa nating research. Okay? Step number 6 or stage number 6, state the research problem or questions and research objectives. Ito nabanggit na rin po previously na dapat paisa-isa nababanggit po natin yung mga research problems or research questions and even the research objectives na posible po natin ma-encounter as we move forward in writing your research. Okay? State the hypothesis that was mentioned already. And okay. So, umabot po tayo sa pinakahuling slide ng presentation nito. So, I hope that by this time, after we've gone through a more than 30-minute discussion of what the research introduction is all about, you are probably through with your research introduction and you are now ready to go to the next step or the next part of your full research paper, which is the background of the study. Okay, and that will also be shared to you in my next video lecture series. So abangan nyo na lang po yan, and ipopost ko na lang din po siguro doon dito sa baba ng ating video description yung link naman para sa susunod na video series natin, video lecture series natin. Until next time, maraming salamat po, paalam.